Surviving any way they can, even if it means selling their bodies. This is one of the hot pickup spots in Yangon, Myanmar's capital, where women sell themselves, where men pay for sex. It's difficult to know the impact Cyclone Nargis has had on Myanmar's sex industry, but there's evidence some women who've lost everything in the disaster are turning to prostitution to make ends meet. This prostitute wanted to remain anonymous.
We got trouble during the cyclone. We got difficulties at that time. It is just a fact. Our house was destroyed. So my brother told me that he is going to rebuild it, but we need money for that.
So the 22-year-old became a prostitute days after the cyclone destroyed 85% of her village.
I'm not enthusiastic about this job. I didn't want to do it.
She says more and more girls are working the streets since Cyclone Nargis. She earns $10 a day, but it's a soul-destroying way to earn money. Nargis's destruction was incredible. Estimates of the number of dead vary, but the UN says 84,000. Another 53,000 are still missing. 450,000 homes destroyed. The military dictatorship running this country held up vital humanitarian aid for days. Even now, Burmese exiles say the situation is desperate.
Many more people are going into the prostitution, especially after the cyclone, especially the people from the cyclone-affected areas.
The UN's also aware of the problem.
For example, there have been interviews with some of these women who are in sex work, who recently entered sex work, and what they're saying is, we have received humanitarian aid, food and assistance, but we just haven't had cash in our hands for months. And so we are doing this work, and this work puts cash in our hands.
The UN also says part of the problem is that pimps perceive aid workers, rightly or wrongly, as a new market.
Some of these men are saying, oh, well, we used to work in front of these hotels before, and whereas before we might have been approached by 2 pimps or brokers offering us women, now we may be approached by 7.
I'm working like this because there is no other option.
It's difficult to know how many share this woman's story, but the UN estimates since Cyclone Nargis perhaps an additional 200 to 300 women like her are taking to the streets in Myanmar's delta because they simply have no choice. Dan Rivers, CNN, Bangkok.